Welcome back to Cadwell Park for the second race for the Nankang Tyre CityCar Cup Championship. I struggled with that phrase yesterday. I hopefully got it right this time. On the front row this time again, he won from pole yesterday. It is car number 15. Hopefully we've got a chance to speak to him this time. It is Andrew Dyer. Let's have a quick chat with Andy.
Hey, you right?
A win from pole yesterday.
Yep.
Pretty strong. Now, it looks like the C1s are quite a favourite up front. Is there a particular difference between them and the Igos and the 107s?
No, nothing I know of. They all seem fairly similar on pace. We're doing similar lap times, so I think it's just about feeling comfortable in the car and get as much laps in as I could, especially with the testing. That helped quite a lot as well. So.
You got some glorious sunny weather now, unlike yesterday. It was a bit more chilly yesterday. With these cars being so light on power, do you notice things like that?
The heat, what we find with these is the tyres, once you get them over a certain temperature, where I find, they just go off and you start sliding a lot. So that's the only thing a little bit on my mind today, is that I haven't put too much pressure and it gets too hot and then I start getting a bit of understeer. So rather than that, I feel pretty confident and hopefully I can do the same again today.
We wish you the best of luck. Representing Welsh Pride is car number 15, Andrew Dyer. Thank you very much, sir. Let's untangle from his door. Push it close for him. Okay, starting from second position is number 22, which is Nick Grinjo. Good afternoon, Nick.
Afternoon.
So, started third, finished second. One more progression, do you think, or is it going to be a bit of a fight with number 15 there?
Oh, why not? Let's just make it interesting. I just need to go faster and beat Andrew, so yeah, should be good.
I mean, you've had an absolutely storming season, particularly in the first half of it. Slightly, it's barely different in the second half. It's not quite gone your way. So talk us through how your season's gone overall.
Overall, it's been a good year. A lot of race wins. Would have thought we'd wrap the championship up, but there we go. It's going to be tight to the end, so yeah, make it interesting.
That's what we like to see. Were it not for the drop scores, you would have led coming into this weekend, but it's so tight. I mean, before this weekend, it was 3 points between you and Duncan Stone, but Duncan is right over there. Does that let the pressure off a little bit, or do you not really think about that?
A little bit. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna have to make a move on Andrew. It's gonna have to be a nice, easy move, but yeah, the two Auto Bliss cars are fast. Yeah, we did have to put Duncan's car back together last night, so yeah, he's a little bit down.
Bless. I mean, it was a pretty nasty incident he was in, but we wish you the best of luck all the same. Yeah. Thank you very much, Nick Grindro. It is now car number 22. I'm going to shut the door for him. They do have to reach quite a long way out of the car to get the door. Now, bear in mind, these cars start off as road cars and then they get converted into race cars. They have about 80 horsepower thereabout, and they weigh as much as a damp towel. Starting in third is number 17, Richard Bliss. Well, so yesterday he was fourth, up one position. Do you think you can overcome these two?
I'm not really fussed, to be honest. It sounds daft, but I'm here just to try and stay where I am. I just want a nice, easy race. It's pretty much what I've been doing all season, so I just want to keep it nice and steady, get to the end of the race and see what happens. And see what they do.
Yeah, fair play. So Stuart is brother? Yeah. So is there sibling rivalry, or a case of just get on with the job and figure the results out at the end?
I think there was rivalry at the start of the season, but obviously with just the year not planning out for Stu, he's been trying to help me a bit as much as he can, really. But it's quite close between us, which is good.
Yeah, mysteriously found a few kilos of ballast in the back of the car then?
No, not yet. I've just done that myself.
Yeah, I'm not going to have that conversation. Best of luck to you, Richard. That's car number 17, Richard Bliss. He's alongside aforementioned brother Stuart, car number 18. Easy to get these two, obviously same team, same colours. Let's let cameraman get into position. Right, Stuart. Yes, very good. As we get along here. Right, the engine's starting to rev, but they haven't released the cars just yet. So you're alongside your brother.
Yeah.
Is it concentrating on him or just doing your own race?
Doing my own race, this one. Just the last one of the year. Trying top three would be nice. Hopefully first, but we'll see what happens. It was so close, so good push on and see how we get on.
I think it's fair to say the beginning half of your season was less than ideal.
Yeah.
But the second half's been brilliant. I mean, we can't answer that question because they've just blown the whistle. Best of luck out there, Stuart, as we shut his door for him. Out they go for their second race. It's the Nankang Tyre CityCar Cup Championship. I'll hand over to Scott Woodward in the commentary box.
Thank you, Chris, and welcome to those who are watching on the Nankang Tyre CityCar page. It's time for the final race of the season for the 2021 Nankang Tyre CityCar Cup, and what a wonderful year it's been for them. It's been ever since the series got its first racing start as part of the Club Sport Trophy right here at Cadwell Park. It's quite fitting that we return here to essentially crown our first ever champion at the end of the first ever CityCar Cup Championship season as a championship. So big thank you to everyone that's taken part, everyone that's built a car, everyone that's supported it, to everyone involved in the championship for all their hard work to get it to where it is today. Not everyone is able to make it for this final round, but still a decent run of cars here for this season. And of course we've got a championship to settle as well, because there are titles on the line, and it looks as though that Nick Grindrod, bar anything untoward happening in this race that might well cause him to get some kind of a penalisation, it's essentially, as champion-elect, he's got basically one hand on the trophy, to use that term that we're using quite a lot this weekend. And so, provided that he keeps himself out of trouble and just brings the car home. In fact, he doesn't even bring the car home, even if he, well, we've worked it out, even if he retires from this race, and even if Richard Bliss goes on to win with fastest lap, because he's the nearest person to the championship, 6 points back, with 499 points for Nick Grindrod after that race, and 493 for Richard Bliss. After Duncan Stone's retirement, he's down on 491 because he gets some points back on drop scores. Even if Nick Grindrod was not to finish this race and score 0, and Richard Bliss was to win and get the fastest lap of the race, which is 50 points plus the 1 for fastest lap, then even so, Nick Grindrod amazingly has won so many races that he can still actually claim back the equivalent of as many points as a win, which means that if I put it into my point spreadsheet, it tells me that at the end of that, it would put Nick Grindrod on 549 points if he was to retire from this race, if he chose to, or not even take part at all. And Richard Bliss, if he got the maximum points, would be on 544. Well, here's the grid for the final race of the season as a result of race 1 yesterday. So first-time winner Andrew Dyer starts on pole, alongside Nick Grindrod, alongside him on the front row. Richard Bliss and Stuart Bliss makes it an all-sibling front row in the 2 Toyotas, second row in the 2 Toyotas. Liam Browning and Tim Evans are back on row 3, ahead of William Burgess in the Mission Motorsport run car, and Patrick Booth, who's in one of the 2 4G Racing Citroen C1s, starting from 8th. Ninth for the grid is John Nicholson, former short oval racer. Richard Snuggs gets one of his better starting spots, up in 10th place in his Citroen. Back in 11th place on the grid is Ben Bastow. Alongside him is Chris Hetherington, who's joined the championship back at Croft, I believe. So he's finding his feet in the series. Richard Luthwaite and Duncan Stone, who was the champion leader coming into the weekend. He had the incident which put him out of the race earlier on. Also, Ross Macker starts back in 15th on the grid after he hit dramas yesterday. And Alex Carter was also disqualified from the race yesterday after overtaking under yellow flags, I think by virtue of Duncan Stone's incident, where I think he overtook them on the exit of Barn Corner, which means that because of his disqualification, he starts from the back of the grid. Just in case you are watching for the first time for this final race and you're not sure what this series is, this is CityCar Cup. It was conceived last year, even whilst we're still in lockdown, but call the BRCC crazy for launching a brand new championship series in the middle of a pandemic, but it's worked and it's inspired quite a few many people. So all these cars mechanically are identical. They're either a Citroen C1, a Toyota Aygo, or a Peugeot 107. All first generation of those cars, from model year between, I think it's 2005 and 2013 if I'm correct. It's concrete in the regulations to which model years you can choose from. All the cars mechanically are the same. They all have the same championship spec kit, which is about roughly £2,800 for all the basics that you need. And then of course on top of that there is the maintenance kit and a Motorsport UK safety kit as well on top of that, including the baseline price for a donor car, which is around about circa £500 for one of these cars, or maybe less if you know where to look. You can put a car together for around about £6,000 in this championship, or buy a turnkey ready one for as little as £7,000, or a fiver under £7,000 at £6,995. And these cars are equally matched. They all have, in terms of parts, they all run the same roll cage, they all run the same it was championship spec gas suspension kit. They also run a spec championship exhaust back box, an ECU remap from Hybrid Tune. They also run Powerflex bushes, Nankang tyres, ATS wheels, and all these parts put together so that it turns the little Citroen C1 or Toyota or Peugeot from a a simple little city car into a proper little race car that's stable, that's sturdy, but can, if you push it too hard, can still throw you around a bit and can still get a bit sideways. But for the most part, they are quite fun little cars. They've only got about I think if I'm correct, about sort of 60 odd, 70 odd horsepower. But they are proper little buzzsaws, and they are great fun to watch. They've been entertaining so many people up and down the tracks and getting lots of new fans as they go. And I've always thought with the sort of little exhaust on the back, and they sound like old school Porsche 962s. They're brilliant stuff. All the little 3-cylinder 1 litre engines in these cars are all identical. The only modification that they really have is purely just the exhaust system, which is just in the back, and then they have the hybrid tune championship ECU map that they get put on, so they'll make exactly the same horsepower, exactly the same ECU program. So essentially it's all down to how well the cars can be set up and how well they can be driven. So Nick Grindrod came into the weekend second in points behind Duncan Stone by 3, and apart from a blip on his season at Alton Park, where he at Alton had exclusion from the first race and had to climb his way back through, and then he got 36 points from the second race. Every single race after that, he has won. Apart from yesterday, he has taken victory. So he took double victories at the first Donington Park rounds at May, then at Alton Park in June. Donington Park supporting British GT. That was an incredible weekend for the championship. Took a double win there again, and did it again at all 3 races at Snetterton, and then he took a double win back at Croft. And so if he can pick up another win, if I try and count them back, with the 3 that he picked up at Snetterton, that's 5 at Croft. I'm doing this on the fly here. 6, 7, 8, 9. I think it's 11 wins he's had so far this year, just showing how dominant he really is. And the former pickup truck racer has certainly taken to CityCar Cup pretty quickly, and I've heard on the grapevine that allegedly he's moving across into Mazdas for next year, so potentially it may give the opportunity for somebody else next season to become CityCar Cup champion. But at the moment, he looks as though he's all set to become champion-elect, but there is still one more race to come in this fantastic new championship from 2021. So, after an incredible season, the final race of the year for the Nankang Tyre CityCar Cup is all set to get underway. Pole man of race 1 winner Dye on the front row alongside champion-elect Grindrod. Here we go, one last time with CityCar Cup racing, and a great launch from pole for Andrew Dyer as they sprint down towards Coppers for the first time. Tim Evans trying to split the 2 Auto Bliss Igos down towards the left-hander. Tries to get in the middle of one and the other. But it's going to be Andrew Dyer who leads then, with Nick Grindrod in second place. The 2 Auto Bliss Toyota Igos are third and fourth. And we've got now 2x2. We see also Tim Evans and Liam Brownie getting into the mix as well. As they come up through the right-hander. And up now through this point. Oh, and a little bit back of a move there. I can't quite tell exactly which one is which in terms of the 2 Auto Bliss Toyotas, because they're both Richard and Stuart Bliss. I'm going to tell by which number. I think if I'm correct, 17 is Richard, 18 is Stuart. So I'll try and find my pad somewhere. I wrote that down and try and find it out. So Andrew Dyer then leads the way down towards the right-hander at Park Corner for the first time. It's Grindrod in second place. The Bliss is third and fourth. There goes Patrick Booth round the outside of Tim Evans and the 4G Racing Citroen. And then it is Tim Evans who's side by side along with him, and William Burgill's having a good start as well as he goes up through the complex. That's for 6th, 7th and 8th going on, and we've got to sort it out before they get to the gooseneck, and they do. So Booth manages to back off a little bit and allow Evans to get through. There goes William Burgess. And then now down the outside is Ross Macker. Now Ross Macker, meanwhile, remember he started towards the back of the grid about 14th position. He's already up inside the top 10, so he certainly isn't hanging around. He's not too far away from his teammate as they come out of Mansfield for the first time. Top 5 altogether, line astern, and into the Mansfield for the first time. So Dyer leads, Nick Grindrod second, the Bliss is third and fourth. I think it's Richard Ed Stewart, but it's Liam Browning in 5th position. Tim Evans is now 6th. Past my commentary box position, they go into the Hall Bends. Tim Evans is 6th. It's Booth 7th. It's then Burgess 8th, and Ross Macker is up to 9th. So a good start for Ross, the former MG, the renowned MG racer. And Patrick Booth has also got experience racing MGs for that 4G racing team as well. I think they still do, but they're also branching out into the city cars as well. And you can see they're both part of several drivers that have supported the championship. Had an incredible opening rounds back at Donington Park in May, where they practically sold out the grid. It was 38 cars on the grid for the CityCar Cup, and incredible to see a grid just full of these little fantastic little pocket rockets. These are brilliant little race cars, and they're a great starting point for novice drivers as well. There is a novice racer award. That's for drivers who, for the purposes of either racing in CityCar Cup last year or this year, were racing, were novice drivers and picked up their licence for the first time. So there's a contest going on there. Richard Bliss looks like he's set to pick it up ahead of Liam Brown and possibly Andrew Dyer. Andrew Dyer could even get second place if results go his way, if he wins this, and if results go his way, but we'll work them out as we go. So the final 20-minute race of the season, as now the battle is on, as there goes Patrick Booth back up the inside of Tim Evans. That's a move for 6th ahead of Evans now. And there goes William Burgess with Ross Macker trying to go round the outside to follow his teammate. Burgess is staying firm and trying to hold on as much as he can, but Macker's going to force the issue, and he forces Burgess to back out of it, so he does go around the outside and picks up another place in the process. So we're back to where we were yesterday, because if you watch yesterday's race at the end of yesterday's stream, you'll see that it was Dyer, Grinder, number 2 Blisses, nose to tail all the way through towards the end of the race. But now they've been joined by Liam Browning, who seems to have woken up and found a bit more pace for this second race. Good start from him. Then here comes the next pack, led by Patrick Booth, and it's Tim Evans, followed by Ross Macker, and it's Burgess. John Nichols is in there too. There he is in the pink and white number 310. And also behind him is Duncan Stone. Now remember, he of course had the incident yesterday that really, I think, kind of put him out of contention for the championship and put it just about provisionally out of reach, we think, of Nick Grindrod. It's not fully sort of provisionally confirmed yet, but of course we've got to get this last race out of the way before we can be a bit more certain that it is definitely Nick Grindrod who has provisionally wrapped up the title. As the field makes its way through, here comes the battle for 6th onwards. Grindrod with the fastest lap of the race. How many times have we seen that this year? It's been so many times we've seen Grindrod's name flash up as on the screen as the fastest lap. So he'll have a chance here to try and squeeze past Andrew, but Andrew, and he's actually got through. So Nick Grindrod then has managed to squeeze through past Andrew Dyer, and I wonder if this will now be the last time we see Nick Grindrod in this pack, because usually whenever he gets out in front, he's been quite dominant. But throughout the season, whilst he had the early advantage, the rest of the pack of that group of front runners, they started to find their pace, get a bit more confidence, find the speed, and stay with him. And it hasn't all been Nick Grindrod's way. It's not exactly the days when Nick would just get into the lead and charge away and be unchallenged. When early in the season he was winning races by sort of 6, 7, 8 seconds, whereas this time by the end of the season, now the likes of Andrew Dyer and the Blisses and Duncan Stone and Liam Browning, they've got to grips with these cars now. They know exactly where the fast points are, but they know exactly the tricks in the setup, and they know what they need to do to get the most out of their performance. And so Nick Grindrod, whilst he definitely is by far and away the championship leader, he's not being allowed to really fully pull away. So we'll wait and see as this race progresses. So out of Mansfield, through the complex, up towards the mountain. Top 5 go through the shot just in the foreground there. Then Booth, followed by Evans, Macker. There goes William Burgess in 9th position. Still with the same livery which the Bad Obsession Motorsport team ran with that car last year when they built it and ran it in a few races which CityCar Cup competed in. They ran twice as a class in the Club Sport Trophy here at Cadwell and then at Silverstone, and they had their own first standalone races at Croft at the end of the season. Of course, that was the prerequisite to becoming a full-blown championship for this year. So today is when provisionally we will crown the first ever CityCar Cup champion. A little bit of history being made here at Cadwell Park with the BRSCC. Top 5 altogether. Just saw in the foreground, Andrew Dyer was right underneath Nick Grindrod again. There he is. So Nick Grindrod, the red car, number 22, and Andrew Dyer, the Troy Price Cars liveried machine, car number 17, all over the back of Nick Grindrod. He's got a great exit from Charlie's, and Grindrod here, for the first time I've seen him for almost ever in this championship, he's having to get his elbows out and defend, because he hasn't done that very much at all this season. But Andrew Dyer is really going for it up the hill. The two Blisses are watching brief, and I think there was a bit of contact between them there, so I think possibly Andrew Dyer tried to pull the dummy, and Grindrod just put his car solidly to the inside line and just forced Dyer to check himself back up into the two Toyotas. So I think there's a chance here you might have a look, and Dyer's not careful. He's looking to the outside into the gooseneck, but if he's really not careful, both Richard Bliss and his sibling Stuart might find a way through here. The two Toyotas certainly working together a little bit. And Liam Browning's not too far away. He's been pretty mega this year as well, taking a few overall podiums as well as some strong results amongst the novice racers. There's our second group, and Ross Macker has now got past Tim Evans, so it is now 4G Racing Cars 6th and 7th, Patrick ahead of Ross, and now it's 8th and 9th for Tim Evans and then William Burgess. Leaders over the mountain. Back now through to the Hall Bends. This is lap 4. Still about just 12.5 minutes to go. That's a wonderful throaty drone of the CityCar Cup cars. They really do sound like proper little old school cars. I think the 2 Bliss Toyotas have switched positions. I think Stewart's just got past Richard, so it should be, I think, 18 ahead of 17, I think, now. We'll check that as they come down the straight. Yes, it is. So Stewart is now ahead of Richard. And now, the loss of momentum for Richard has now put him under pressure for Liam Browning. Of course, these two are the top 2 in the novice racer category. Liam's a few points back, so even if he does pass Richard, I don't think it's going to make too much difference. And he puts 2 wheels onto the grass, and they almost touch wheels there. They're rubbing bumpers into the left-hander at Coppice. And there has been some firm racing at times in the CityCar Cup, but when it's good and when it's fair, it's really good, close, competitive racing. And all that battling, actually, has just given Grindrod and Dyer the chance to pull away now in their own little private battle. That's the thing with these city cars. In a group, they're brilliant. Once you just fall back a little bit, you start to lose the momentum. And so that's where it all gets crucial. Down the outside looks Andrew Dyer trying to get past Grindrod, who really is putting him under pressure. He's probably saying to Nick, look, you might be practically just about the champion, but I'm going to push you all the way to the checkered flag here to prove that this might be something to come in our adventures in Mazdas next year, because both Andrew Dyer and we believe also Nick Grindrod will be in Mazdas. And if that happens, Nick might not be too happy, because Andrew Dyer has squeezed through the goosenet. That was a bold move. There's the 2 Toyotas, the 2 Blisses. You can tell it's sibling rivalry between them, because they just do have a fantastic battle and they just scrap amongst each other wherever they go. It's brilliant to watch. Now I just spotted one of the 4G racing cars is missing. I did spot it's either Patrick or obviously either Patrick or Ross, but one of them now I think has fallen behind both Tim Evans and William Burgess. So he's now, he's down to 9th. It's Patrick Booth, in fact. So Ross Macker, he's up to 6th now, and his teammate Patrick Booth, who had been in that position, has now been shuffled down to 9th. City cars make their way back into the hairpin, with Dyer now back in front. Grindrod glued to his tail, and because of that battle, look who it's now brought back into play. It's brought the 3 cars behind back into the mix. Stuart Bliss now pushing on. Stuart Bliss, the experienced rally racer who has rallied a Honda Civic in years gone by, so he's certainly accustomed to front-wheel drive, but a little bit less power than he's used to from that compared to that Honda Civic. Ross Macker doing a fine job in 6th, and now here's that scrap for 7th between Tim Evans in the Toyota and the Citroen of William Burgess. And I have to say, kudos to William Burgess and the Mission Motorsport crew for carrying on the great work that Bad Obsession Motorsport did, putting that car together and maintaining it and making sure that William can run at a competitive pace, because it really has been doing a grand job to improve his pace and get stronger, and to be up there deep in the top 10 is a really good achievement. To be up against Tim Evans, who was one of the first few drivers in these cars in that Toyota Aygo. I think that car's been around pretty much ever since the start of, literally ever since the car series was launched. That car's been around for so long. It was I think it's one of the first few cars that was built, that Toyota Aygo. So good to see it still in racing competition. Got a bit shaken up at Alton Park, but they managed to get it fixed up and back into action for this weekend, which is great to see. So Burgess continuing to apply the pressure. Back through the goosenet, just under 9 minutes to go now in this final race of the season for the Nankang Tyre CityCar Cup. Back into Mansfield again, and now Ross Macker just being allowed to pull away there. There's Patrick Booth, and then behind him there's a battle going on between Duncan Stone and John Nicholson. It looked like Duncan was up the inside of John, so Duncan back up into 10th position, but not being in the lead group means he's kind of fallen away quite a bit from what's going on behind. So top 5 again, all the way through, and then we come through to 6th, 7th, and 8th. Macker, Evans, and Burgess. There is William. See, it's got the Citroen WR-esque inspired livery. It's the same as the when the Sebastian Loeb raced. Drove for the Kronos team in WRC, I think in about 2006, and it's the kind of cigarette sponsorship friendly livery. It's the sort of non-cigarette sponsorship friendly livery. Instead of the sponsorship from the aforementioned French cigarette company, instead it's just the go with several question marks along the side. Here's a battle further back. This is Richard Snuggs having a scrap with Alex Carter over 12th position. Alex Carter recovering after he was disqualified yesterday for overtaking under yellow flags. I'm certain it was the yellow flags that were out for Duncan Stone's incident. Also watching that, the fastest lap of the race had gone to Andrew Dyer, but it's now been beaten in quick succession by then Stuart Bliss and then by Richard Bliss. So we had a similar situation yesterday in a couple of laps where the top 4 consecutively, as they crossed the line, the leader would set the fastest lap of the race, and then second, third and then fourth would all beat it within a matter of moments, a matter of milliseconds. So it's quite competitive and quite closely matched between these 5. Very equal pace. They're all the 155s. Bliss's fastest lap was a 155.528, so he holds the current fastest lap of the race, but everyone else literally about a tenth of a second in it in terms of lap times. 3 of them did 155.9s, and Stuart Bliss did a 155.8. So the 2 Auto Bliss Toyotas are the fastest cars in this leading group, and Stuart has now caught the back of the top 2, so he's in the mix here, and he has got time to get in amongst it now. He's still got 6.5 minutes. There's still time to do so. Meanwhile, further back, Richard Snuggs and Alex Carter are still battling as they go back into Mansfield. And Carter tries to get the switch back, but Snuggs has got enough momentum off the corner to hold on. Just behind him there is Benjamin Baystow. I think that's in a one of the old school Porsche 917 inspired liveries on that car. It's got a striking livery on Richard Snuggs' car as well. It's one of my favourites of the season. That's two-tone blue with the gold and white. It's really beautifully presented cars in this championship. Some really lovely liveries. There are some who've gone the simple plain colour route, but others have really gone quite inventive with their liveries and with their colour schemes. And credit to everyone who's made their cars look the part as well as drive the part as well. So now then, that's where's Andrew Dyer got to? Andrew Dyer disappeared, and Andrew Dyer's in the pits, and so is Stuart Bliss. And they're both at now that was off camera, but they seem to have now. There's damage, I think, to the left front, which they're looking at Andrew Dyer's car, and Stuart Bliss is also getting out of the car as well. So was there contact? Again, forgive us, it wasn't on camera, so they were quite close going into that complex. So I'm not quite sure exactly what happened to them. We'll have to figure out maybe afterwards if there's any connotations. But what it has now done is shuffled up the top 3. It now means that Nick Grindrod now leads the way and is on course for another victory. I want to put a lap on Chris Hetherington's Toyota. When he gets blocked up, and Richard Bliss, he tried to go around the outside to go the racing line, but found that Chris was right there in his path, and Chris immediately just braked and went to the outside line and thought, I'm having no part of this top 3 battle. I'll stay out of the way, you just go past me. So good drive from Chris there, well done. Good job staying out of the way and giving the space to the leaders. So Grindrod then now has a new challenger now. It's now Richard Bliss's turn to go forwards. I think it also pretty much guarantees that Richard Bliss in many cases is going to go ahead and take the novice racer title, because he did come into the season as one of the novice drivers in the novice class. And before this meeting, this race, on drop scores, he was only 6 points behind Nick Grindrod. But as we mentioned, even if Richard was to win and get the fastest lap, and if Nick was to even now DNF at this point, it still wouldn't change anything, and Nick Grindrod essentially is on course to become the first ever CityCar Cup champion. It might well change in a moment though, because Richard Bliss is tucked in under the slipstream of Grindrod. Down towards Coppice they go, 4.25 minutes left on the clock. I think we're going to get lap time wise. They're lapping at 1 minute. What's the lap times they're doing? At 1:57. So I think if they're quick enough, we might maybe get, including this one, maybe 3 more laps, maybe. At least 2, but maybe 3. So we'll have a look and see on the time, because if the lap times are 1:57 and there was more than 4 minutes to go, if it's less than 2 minutes a lap, that would say to me just towards the end of the penultimate lap, we should be able to get a little more time, just with about a few seconds to spare. So Nick Grindrod's lead here is not all certain, because Richard Bliss is keeping him pressured, and they're both pulling away now from Liam Browning in third. What it has now done also is shuffled everyone else up behind them further. So it now puts, well, this is the battle of the fourth now, because Ross Macker has been caught by William Burgess. So William has passed Tim Evans off camera, and he's now also got right onto the tail of Ross here, the Scotsman, who is trying to end his season on something of a high. He started the season with a disqualification in the second race at Donington Park after he ended up sort of banging doors, I think it was Stuart Bliss. So 2 of them got a bit of reprimand for that, but thankfully they've calmed down since then, as they now take their turn to put a lap on Chris Hetherington, exactly the same spot. He's thinking, oh, not again. I've only got out of the way of 3 cars at this point last lap. I'm going to do it again. And that's interesting. William Burgess, because they're so evenly powered, William Burgess didn't have any kind of power advantage to get past Chris Hetherington on the straight. So what that's now done is given Ross Macker, who managed to quickly and swiftly dispatch Chris Hetherington and put a lap on him, it's given a bit of breathing space now between himself and the Citroen. And Tim Evans has also got round as well. Here are the leaders. Now they'll come across the line, and I'm certain we're going to get 2 more laps, because if a lap is 1:57, we're going to cross the line with about 2 minutes 20 on the clock. Yeah, 2 minutes 19, yes we will. So it's going to be 2 more laps then. So 2 times around to see if Nick Grindrod can pick up another win this season and effectively seal the title in style. And essentially we're going to crown both of our champions, first and second in the race, first and second effectively in the championship, and they'll also both be our 2 drivers that are going to win an accolade, which is going to be, of course, the main title, it seems, for Nick Grindrod, and the novice racer title for Richard Bliss. Just popping back into this battle between Snuggs and Carter, still at it nose to tail. Speaking of nose to tail, here is Grindrod and Bliss, and they've now pulled away a little bit more from Liam Browning now. The gap is 1.5 between, well, it was 1.5 between Bliss and Browning. Browning himself 1.8 off for Lee, but it looks a bit more than that. So maybe for that first section of corners, either a tiny mistake from Liam, or these two simply just have got in that much more pace in order to pull away a bit more. A tiny bit wayward there for Grindrod through gooseneck. Car got a tiny bit loose, but he managed to catch it. And that now brings Richard back into play here, so he's not totally done. He'll keep on pressuring to the end, but amazingly, we're looking likely we're going to end the season in exactly the same way that we began it, which is with Nick Grindrod in the lead. Although he's not dominating, he has got a car keeping him honest, and that's been the great thing to watch, is that yes, Nick Grindrod has been ultimately the fastest man of the season, but the bigger picture is that we've had several drivers who have managed to get to grips with these cars, like the Blisses, like Liam Browning, like Ross Macker, like Tim Evans, like Andrew Dyer, like Duncan Stone, like Patrick Booth, all these guys who at the start of the season, apart from 1 or 2 that did a couple of races last year, hadn't ever raced these cars properly and competitively. But so, as the season's gone on, they've learned them, they've adapted to them, they've made themselves more accustomed to them, more comfortable, and by the time they got to the end of the season, Nick Grindrod hasn't been allowed to dominate every single race. He's been put under pressure, he's even lost out in races on pure pace and pure racecraft, and he has been allowed to simply just and he has been caught, and that gives confidence for the drivers behind, who know that these cars, it might take a couple of weekends to get to grips with them, but you can learn the tricks of the trade with these cars, and you can get the ultimate pace out of them, and you can go ahead and win races and beat, arguably the fastest man of the championship, which to many there is no doubt. Still, Snuggs and Carter now battling over 10th and 11th, so it's for the final top 10 spot, but the last lap of the season is underway. And this man pretty much just defined the season. The sight there has defined the season. Nick Grindrod with a gap to everyone else and pulling away. And if it is his final CityCar Cup race, he certainly has been quite a dominant driver for it, and someone who is a benchmark for everyone else to try and match his achievements next year. I'm sure that many people will hope that will be looking and wishing that there's a chance for several drivers to get involved and possibly fight for the title. But Nick set his stall out right from the beginning of the year and has pushed on right from the beginning. He comes up to the mountain for the last time. He took 2 wins at the beginning at Donington Park. He then made it 4 after the pair at Alton Park. He won both at the British GT Support race to make it 6. He then won all 3 at Stetson to make it 9. He won then 2 more at Croft to make it 11. He's about to take his 12th win of the season, and he really has been the man that everyone's had the benchmark to beat. He comes out the final couple of the corners, and Nick Grindrod then about to put a lap on Richard Luthwaite, but he's about to make a little bit of BRSCC history, because out the final corner he comes. Nick Grindrod will take win number 12 and will provisionally confirm himself as the 2021 Nankang Tyre CityCar Cup champion. Cross the line, Nick Grindrod wins and is provisionally the title winner. Congratulations to Nick. Richard Bliss is second, and Liam Browning comes home third. He's also second place, and what looks to be the novice racer crown as well provisionally for Richard Bliss. So congratulations to him as well. Provisionally put those points in, and it shows me Nick Grindrod with 51 points on that. That would leave him with 550 in the end. And Richard Bliss, who finishes in second place, picks up 47 points and he will pick up 590. He's on 540. Liam Browning, who was fourth in the points coming into this final race, picks up 45, and he will finish off with 519. So congratulations to them. But what a season it's been for everyone involved. Ross Macker picks up fourth and towards the back of the grid. An excellent fifth for William Burgess, sixth for Tim Evans. Duncan Stone fights back to seventh. And then it's Patrick Booth and John Nicholson. Then Richard Snuggs will take the final top 10 spot ahead of Alex Carter, with Benjamin Bastow, Richard Luthwaite and Chris Hetherington the final finishers. And sadly, we lost both Andrew Dyer and Stuart Bliss. You can see to the left of screen there, after we presume some contact or incident which involved the pair of them in some reason. But there is your race winner for the 12th time, and more importantly, provisionally, the 2021 Nankang Tyre CityCar Cup champion. Nick Grindrod has done it. And I'm certain if he is moving on to pastures new, that will be something which everyone else will be looking to try and emulate and take the title, of course, from him for next year. So, the final race of the season for the City Car Cup season. Nick Grindrod has provisionally sealed the title in fine style with a win and not the fast lap of the race, it's Richard Bliss at the end. Then it's Liam Browning in second place, Liam Browning third, Richard Bliss was second, and also provisionally seals the novice racer title. Ross Macker is fourth, ahead of fifth place for William Burgess, sixth for Tim Evans, then Duncan Stone, Patrick Booth, John Nicholson and Richard Snuggs. Then it's Alex Carter, Benjamin Bastow and Richard Luthwaite and Chris Hetherington. And we lost, sadly, yesterday's race winner Andrew Dyer and Stuart Bliss. For everyone who supported the championship for the City Car Cup, thank you for doing so. It'll be back next year, bigger and better than it ever was this year. But what an incredible first season. Thank you ever so much for supporting, and there'll be more of that next year in 2022.